Hi, I'm Steven. That's Lloyd.
I'm Lloyd.
And we're from Just Got Played, and today we're going to take a look at Visitor in Blackwood Grove from Resonym. So let me show you real quick an overview of how the game is played, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Visitor in Blackwood Grove is an inductive reasoning game, and in every game you have a visitor, a kid, and one or more agents. So if you're the visitor, you have to make up a rule because you've crashed your spaceship and there's a force field around it. You have to make a rule about what objects can and cannot pass through the force field. So for instance, there's things that are hotter than room temperature. There are suggested ones here, but you can make up your own. Things that move, or things that contain red. Right? So let's say that's our rule, right? Everybody else is trying to figure out what that rule is. So the first thing that you can do, so on your turn, you classify a card from your hand face up. So you can see this one has some red, so I would put it here to say this object would go through. If I had drawn another one, this one, it doesn't have any red, so it would go outside. And so this is going to give some people information. Now, if you're the kid, you can give cards face up to the visitor who has to classify them. Each one that you classify correctly, you say, I think this one will go through the barrier, or this one, I don't think this one will. And if you're correct, you gain a trust, but there's a push your luck element. So you can go up to 3 times, but on the third card, if you're wrong, you lose all your progress and you don't get any trust. So why do you care about trust? Well, so there's a trust board. So as you gain trust, you draw additional cards, and it also unlocks abilities. So the kid cannot prove the pass rule until they get to 2 trust, and that's how the kid wins the game. And also the visitor can start putting cards face down, so only the kid sees them, the agent doesn't, etc. So there's different things that happen here. So if the kid proves the pass rule, and the way you prove the pass rule is you draw 4 objects and classify them. And if you draw 4 objects and classify them correctly, then you win. So the kid and the visitor win together, so they're working together. The agents, if they prove, they win the game individually, so they are not working together. And also, if they fail, right? So if they take 4 cards and try to prove the rule about what passes through the barrier or not and are wrong, then the kid gets 2 trust. The other thing that an agent can do on their turn is they can test a card from their hand, and they do that secretly. So they pass it face down to the visitor, who passes it back, tells them whether or not it would pass through the barrier or not. So that's basically how Visitor in Blackwood Grove is played.
All right, and we're back. So I'm going to start off by talking about what I liked about this game. And so there are a lot of inductive reasoning games out there, and some of them are more complicated than others. And this one, I like that it's just so fast, right? So there's this one initial setup step where the visitor looks at 14 cards and chooses their pass rule, and that could sort of slow the game down, but it doesn't have to. Because, if you just choose one of the ones from the cards and you pick the things, the items you're going to start with real quick, or you just make a decision real quick, then that step can go fast, and then the rest of the game goes pretty quickly. I mean, the last time we played this, we played 3 times in an hour, and that included me explaining the game to everybody. And if we'd had more players, like maybe even if we were up at 6 players, maybe it'd be an hour and a half or something. I mean, I think that would maybe add some time. I'm not entirely sure. I've only played it 3 and 4 players. But it's just quick, and because you get to play it sort of multiple times, everybody gets the chance to experience being a visitor, a kid, an agent. So so that's what I like about it.
It is pretty quick.
Yeah. So Lloyd, what did you like about it?
So my like and my dislike are going to kind of run together here, because what I like is that it's got this very open formula for what the visitor can choose as his pass rule. So essentially what you're doing is, the alien looks at the cards, like you said, the visitor, and chooses what's going to be the pass rule, which allows every game to be drastically different because depending on what the cards are, he kind of decides, that person decides what they want to use as their pass rule. And it can be very open-ended or very, very specific. And both have their pros and cons for doing it that way. But then that flows right into my dislike, which is because of the openness, it makes it very subjective. And even the rule book says something about, that the visitor is going to have to make, these snap judgment calls as to whether or not something fits. And that can work out, negatively for everyone at the table, because ultimately, the kid is trying to pair up with the alien and get things right and guess the pass rule. And then the agents are also trying to win individually and get it right. And if the alien kind of flubs, a pass rule based on some minuscule misunderstanding or difference in his opinion or their opinion of what that object is, then everyone at the table kind of gets hosed, and the game either draws out because your other loss condition is, just running out of cards, and at which point all the agents win. So it gives you this, it's a double-edged sword. It gives you this great freedom to kind of make every game different, and it's not like fixed like Mysterium where the game is setting the answer for you. But then because of that, it also makes it very difficult or it can be difficult to make it winnable by anybody in the game. So
yeah, we were playing one time, I remember, and we ran into this card, and I just sort of have this rule, like you're not allowed to discuss the card. So the card came up, and we're like, is that a doll or is that a little girl? Because there's kind of the stylized art, and that could make the difference, right? In this case, it didn't make the difference because it was like, would the item fit inside of a car? So whether it was a doll or a girl, it didn't matter. But there was another time when I was playing and I was the visitor, and I had made up a rule instead of using one from the deck, and it was that the to pass, it has to be something that you hold in your hand when you use it. Right? And so some things you just don't use, so they don't pass. And then some things, obviously, you hold it in your hand when you use it. But then, one of the, I think it was the kid, maybe, played a gold bricks. And I'm like, do you use those? If you use them, are they in your hand? And then like one of the agents played a flower. And I'm like, well, I guess if you use a flower, you hold it in your hand. Like, so maybe that, in retrospect, wasn't the best, choice for me to, a pass rule to pick. But, what, we played through it, it worked out, the game still soldiered on, but a little bit of a head scratcher there as the visitor. So I get where you're going with the pass rule and all that. And we've had our own sort of experience, same sort of experiences as you have had. For me, though, the thing that I like least about the game, and this is sort of minor because I don't think it matters, and there's like this fiddliness about if the card is shown by an agent face down, and whether it passes or doesn't, the kid is face up or face down, or the visitor is showing something and where it goes on the board. Like it's so fiddly that there's a chart in the rule book telling you, where the thing goes depending on this case. But then underneath the chart in the rule book is a picture, and it's like it's got face down cards on the board that are covering up spots where face up cards are supposed to be able to go. So like the picture raises more questions than answers questions, and so it's fiddly. But again, I don't think it matters. Like even if you play that wrong, like where does the card go, how many can you have face up, how many can you have face down, whatever, like you're still playing the game and you're getting the experience. So although it just sort of bugs me because I like to know I'm playing the game the way it's supposed to be played, I'm not sure it matters if you get it wrong.
No, and that I it's been a while since I played, so I flipped back through the book just to get kind of an overview, and I was looking at the diagrams, and I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Primer, but there's a complex diagram that goes how the time travel in that movie works, and that's what I thought of when I saw the diagrams. I was like, a card goes here, but not here, goes there. Oh, what is going on? So I do get it, and it's that makes it even more fiddly trying to match stuff to those diagrams. It's pretty simple. The agents and the kids, depending on what level the kid is at, gets to put cards face down or face up so that other players can't see them, and that's really all you need. Where they need to go and stuff, you know.
Yeah, I feel like some of those rules were just to try to like limit table space, so you don't have this sprawling thing because you can cover cards up or something. I don't know, but whatever. You know, just play the game, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if you play it wrong, it says it's what, like 5 to 15 minutes on the box or something. So I mean, if you screw it up once, who cares? You're going to go into another one, and it's a light party game. It's not super strategic. You're spending 3 hours playing the game wrong, so I don't think it really matters.
You can be loose with rules. You can be loose with interpretation because who cares? It takes 5 minutes and you're going to play again. So anyway, that's what we thought of Visitor in Blackwood Grove. I'm Steven. That's Lloyd. We're from Just Got Played. Visitor in Blackwood Grove. You know, I always want to say alien instead of visitor. Right? It should have been alien in Blackwood Grove. Why not? Right?
I don't know. It's a visitor. He's not an alien. Maybe he's visiting from Canada.
A Frenchman crashed a spacecraft into Blackwood Grove. Sure, has a force field. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to stop that recording.